Hi, this is a tech talk for the Social System Mapping Community of Practice. I'm Amy Moritz, one of the members, and I will be your facilitator for today. This tech talk is to show you how to use the header maker, the simplified version of the header maker that is provided to us by Tim Hansen, one of the partners with Greater Than the Sum. The reason you want to use the header maker is if you are loading data into sumApp, your contact information, your people's names and email addresses, if you're using the upload function to upload a CSV file, you'll want to always run your data set through the header maker before uploading to make sure that you've got a clean data set, and that will greatly decrease any chances that you have errors as you upload your data. The second reason you might want to use the header maker is if you have developed your survey questions for sumApp, say in a Word document, and you have a lot of questions or your questions have a long list of options, you'll find it easier and quicker to use the header maker to have your questions then downloaded as a CSV and uploaded into sumApp. And you can use the header maker for both of these purposes at one time. There is a document on Google Docs that walks you through step by step using the header maker. This will be provided to you. And I'm going to also do it during this video. So I'll be referring back and forth to this Google Doc that gives you step-by-step instructions, as well as actually demonstrating for you how to use it. You do need to begin with having a Google account and access to Google Sheets. Hopefully you got a little bit of familiarity with Google Sheets. And right inside our instructions, we can begin to access the header maker. So I'm going to click this link and open up the header maker. And I get a message that I am going to make a copy of this, which is what you want to have happen. And there's also just a slight caution that tells you that there's a script file with some code that's attached to this Google Sheet. And this is what Tim has prepared for us that does the cleaning of the data. So I want to hit the blue button to make a copy. So the copy is being made on my Google account. And on our first tab, let me just orient you a little bit. You can choose to rename this if you'd like. I could say this is Amy's copy of the header maker. You have some worksheets at the bottom. And the first one is just got a disclaimer that just gives you just to tell you that this is not a product of sumApp, but it is provided to us by Tim to use to help clean the data. But it is your responsibility to understand that and to know your own data. And then we've got a tab that has some functions here, some buttons over on the left, and I'm going to explain these to you. And this is where we're going to be adding our questions for sumApp. And then we've got a list where our data is that we will be working with, cleaning and preparing it to be uploaded to sumApp. So let me go back. So I have some data in here already, and I'm actually going to get rid of this, and we are going to start from scratch. The first thing I want to do is to hit this button here that says reset. And when you first access this Google Sheet, and before you use it, you need to hit this red button because it goes through a process. It's a really quick process, but it goes through a process that actually allows you to access the script and have this code run in the background that Tim has set up for us. Because my screen won't show the pop-ups, I am going to actually switch to the instructions where you can see the screens that are popping up as I tell it that it is okay with me that it runs this code in the background. So hopefully you can see these pictures here. I'm hitting the red button to reset. It's on this second tab called Questions to Upload. And I've gotten a pop-up that says, do you authorize this? And I'm going to click OK. You'll get another pop-up that asks you to choose which of your Gmail accounts you're going to want to have this Google Sheet sit where you want it to sit. Then it's going to pop up again and say, let's just do some double checking here. Do you really want to proceed? You want to hit the advanced button, which will allow you to scroll down and say, click go to header maker. Yes, indeed, I want to go to it. And because you want this code to be able to run in the background. You'll get one final pop-up. You'll scroll to the bottom and say allow. So I am back on my copy of the Google Sheet. I have completed this first hit of this red button, and it's made sure that the script file will be able to run. I want to hit it one more time to tell it to clean out any data. So if you saw over here, I already had a set of data here. We're going to start over. And so I want to tell it to reset. I've got a whole new project I'm working on. So I'll hit the red button. It's running the script. It asks me, are you sure you want to clear out your data? And I say, okay, I do. And it also will clear out this file, this spreadsheet right here, that worksheet I have up that has my headers, which is already clear, but I'm going to say, yes, clear it. I want everything clean so I can start brand new. So I've hit the reset button. We're clean. The script is finished running. We're ready to go. So I want to upload my data set. So I, like most of you, have some data that has my people's names that I'm going to be adding to the map and surveying. And I want to clean it up before I put it into sumApp. So first I need to import my data set into this Google Sheet. So I'm going to use the function over at the left, File, Import. This data set sits on my computer. So I'm going to choose this upload. I'm going to browse and find the file. The file is this one here. It is existing test data, not validated. I'm going to open it. And it's opening up that spreadsheet that's sitting on my laptop. Here's really important. You're not creating a new spreadsheet. You're actually going to be inserting a new worksheet inside this Google Sheet that Tim has set up. So I'm going to select Insert New Sheet. You can ignore Import Theme, leave it unchecked, and import your data. So this is my data that's been imported. It's now in a new sheet. I'm going to take a minute to just rename this sheet so I know what I'm working with, and I'm going to call it Amy's Project. Okay, and then I'm going back over to the sumApp header at the bottom. I remember there was data here before and I cleaned it all out. Well, now I got to put my new data back in. So I'm going to hit this button up here in column A called Get Your Data from Sheet. And you'll notice that if you're sometimes uncertain about what you're hitting, you can check the pop-up boxes that Tim has provided, and it'll give you a little bit of further instructions. In this case, we're ready to get our data from one sheet into this sheet. It's running the script. It gives me a pop-up box. There's usually some great information, so take your time to read the pop-up box. But I need to now select which sheet is it that I want to import. and it's the sheet I just renamed as Amy's project. So I'll select that. I'll hit submit. And notice it says be patient. So I'll just hit submit one time and we'll give it a minute for the data to pull in. Data moved. I'll hit OK. And the data will populate the sheet. Okay, success. I'm going to close this pop-up box. So here's my data. Now we want to use the validate data function to make sure that it is all clean and ready to be uploaded into sumApp. So when I hit the validate button, it's going to give me another series of pop-ups and very helpful instructions. And let's see, show you how that works. So my first pop-up says what it's about to check is the first name column. And the first name cannot have any blanks. And so if it finds something that's not valid or blank, it's going to move that whole row up to the top and highlight it for me. So I know exactly what it is that I need to fix. You'll also notice that if for some reason you need first name to be blank, all you need to do is put a hyphen in that field and it can continue to stay blank, but it must have a hyphen in order to do that. So I've read the instructions, wonderful. I'm going to hit OK and let's see what happens. So I've had one row move to the top where I've got nothing in first name. So in this case, I'm going to assume it's Justin and it just got left out. So I'll type in Justin. I'll tab to get out of that field. And now I need to hit validate again. It's running the script. It decided that first name column now looks good. Excellent. I hit OK. And now it wants to check the last name. So it gives me again the instructions. What do I need to do, particularly if I want last name to stay blank? I'll hit OK. It's running the script in the background. It found two this time that need my attention. It pulled them up to the top. And I'm looking, and this was Dolores. And Dolores, let's say I'm going to put a hyphen. She's going to have, doesn't have a last name that I want to fill in. And Therese, looks like we just left out Clark. So I'll add Clark and tab out, hit validate again. So every time the validate is going through, first column still looks good. Last name column, that's looking good. Now we're moving on to the email. First thing it checks is that I don't have any empty emails. You can't have any blank emails in the first email address. That looks okay. And now it is going to check for invalid email addresses. So emails that for some reason aren't true email addresses. So wonderful. Let's see what happens. So we have two. So I've got two that I need to fix. So it looks like somebody just put an extra U here at the end of this one. So I'll get rid of that. And we can't have any funky characters like this pound sign and an email address. So looks like that's probably been some sort of a typo. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now we'll validate again. Hit the validate button. It's running the script. First name is good. Last name is good. No empty cells in the email column. All the email addresses are now good. That's great. All of the email addresses must be unique. So let's see if I have any that need to be fixed. So I do. You can see I've got two here that have Bobby Carter. I've got two that have Misty. And I also have one here in the main email that is a duplicate. It has to be different from the one here in email 2. So I've got all my email addresses have to be unique. So let's do some quick fixing. We are going to decide that this should be Dolores. Right, and Misty looks good. We'll say this is Trinidad. All right, change that one. And in this case, I am just going to delete this one. We don't need it. We don't need the email too. Okay, hopefully I fixed those. Let's hit validate data again and see what happens. Running the script, first name good, last name good, no empty email cells, all the email addresses are valid, no duplicate email addresses, and finished the script. So if y'all saw really quickly up at the top, I had a quick little black pop-up that said the script had finished. So we are ready. This data set is clean and it is ready to be exported as a CSV so that it'll be in the CSV format to then import into sumApp. So you can either export it using this button that Tim has set up for us. Just make sure if you do it this way that you read the instructions and follow the instructions here to the right. The other way that it can be done is just to simply go to the file. If you're familiar with Google Sheets, I can do a download and I can download it as a CSV and follow the instructions like you normally would for a Google Sheet. All right, then I will have my clean CSV to import into sumApp. So let's now move to the questions. So I've moved to the tab that says questions to upload, and I have got on my computer a Word document that has some questions that I've been collaborating with, hypothetically, with my team to decide what our questions are going to be in our sumApp survey. And so I want to now put this long list of countries into sumApp. I want to put these other questions into sumApp, but I don't want to have to go into the sumApp app and retype them. I've already typed them. And so I can cut and paste these into the Google Sheet. One of the things you're going to want to be aware of is that when you're cutting and pasting, is that you always want to run it through something like Notepad to just clean up any spaces or odd characters. And so I'll show you how that's going to work in just a minute. So let's start with public email. I am going to copy that. I'm actually going to go ahead and put it into my notepad. The notepad pops up. I do a paste. I've cleaned up any weird characters that might have been there. I'm going to copy it from here. And now I'm going to go to the header maker. And this second row, which is kind of green, yellowish green, this is where your question goes. So I'm going to paste public email. That's what's going to show up on the survey. And in this first row, I need to tell it what kind of question is this going to be. And this is for someone to enter an email address. Okay, let me go and grab our next one, media profile. I am going to copy this. I'm going to run over to Notepad. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to copy it again and bring it in to the header maker where I'll paste it. And this I want to tell is a URL. Let's say it's somebody's maybe website address or LinkedIn profile. And then my next one is this one where I want people to tell me where they're located. And so I'm going to grab my question. I want to clean it up in my notepad. I want to copy it again. I'm going to put it into the header maker. And for this one, I'm going to tell it that the type of question is select. So the select boxes is when you're creating a question and you've got a whole list with check boxes, and a select actually works more like a drop down. So I'm doing a select for this question. Now I want to get my countries. And for this one, I want to show you a reason that I want to use Notepad. So I'm grabbing all of my countries. I'm going to go, instead of going to Notepad, I'm going right to the Google Sheet. I'm going to do a paste, and you'll see it adds in all of these extra spaces. So somehow in that Word doc, there were extra spaces. So that's the reason that we want to pop into Notepad first. So I'm going to undo that, go to Notepad. I'm going to paste all of those countries here, no spaces. Well, I'll get all those funky characters out. I want to do a copy, come back. Now it should paste cleanly. All right, and let's see, I've got just a few more questions. Let's grab these. This one is, I'm part of a network. I'm copying. I'm going to go clean it up over in my Notepad, paste, copy again. And I'm going to, this is going to just use, if you saw how I did that, I grabbed the question and I grabbed the responses. I pasted that all at one time. And for this one, I'm going to use the select boxes. So that's the type of question this one will be. And I believe I have one more that I will show you. This one is just going to be a text question where they can enter text. And I'll copy my question just for good measure. I'll paste it over in my Notepad and copy it again. Put it up where the questions go. And this one, I'm going to allow them to do a text area. And the text area is where, when you want them to be able to do a single line of text, or actually, let's do text input, which lets them do a paragraph if they have a paragraph to share. Okay, so I have put all of my questions into this header maker, and now we are ready to have the script do its magic in the background. So now I'm ready to hit Get sumApp Headers. So you see this green button over here on the left. It's running a script in the background. The script is finished. I got a quick little pop-up box there that the script had finished. And if you noticed, it automatically brought me into this third sheet where I had my data, my clean data. And if I scroll all the way over to the right, you'll see that it has added the questions that I had just entered in that other worksheet. It brought them over. Here's the one with all of those countries. It adds this mark here, this symbol, this pipe that's needed in order for it to successfully upload into sumApp. So all of my questions are here. So I now have my clean data set. I have my questions. And at this point, if I want to import into sumApp both my data set and my questions, I would just need to go through that step of downloading a CVS file, and then I'll be ready to upload it into sumApp. So that is how you use the header maker. And I'm really happy that I got to share this with you. You'll notice in your Google Doc, you have access to this recording. You have a link to this recording. You also have a link to the 2 files that I was using to play around with the import, do my practice, play around with creating questions. So you should have everything you need to give this a try on your own. Good luck.